Heracross has invaded my home. I heard munching from my closet and opened it to see that the beetle had grown enormous. I tried to run, but could not outpace the Salac boosted bug. I cried, "This is insane!" before the swarm boosted Megahorn killed me instantly. In all seriousness, Heracross is at the absolute peak of its power in Gen 3, and is the best offensive bug type in the game, and arguably even the best fighting type in OU. This is a classic example of a wallbreaker, with an impressive 125 base attack and enough speed to pose a threat to slower defensive Pokemon. Despite a lot of Pokemon in this metagame that make life difficult for Heracross, such as Salamence, Dugtrio, and Gengar, Heracross has prevailed throughout the years as a uniquely powerful, physical attacker with unrivaled breaking power. Let's take a look at all of the different ways you could use Heracross, and examples of it being used in high-level play. Heracross has access to one of the most powerful physical stab moves in Gen 3 OU, Megahorn. 120 base power is pretty massive for Gen 3 standards, and this is one of the most threatening moves in the entire game. Common physical walls like Swampert, Melodic, and Suicune can shrug off damage from most standard physical attackers, with their important resistances and the lower power of moves like a stab HP flying from Salamence or non-stab Earthquake from Metagross. But all of these Pokemon are greatly threatened by that Heracross Megahorn. Fighting is also a really good complementary stab type, as it can hit the steel types that resist bug for super effective damage. Access to Rock Slide for coverage rounds out Heracross very nicely, allowing it to threaten the flying types that resist both bug and fighting. Heracross also has access to Focus Punch. This move has a massive 150 base power, but it requires you to tighten your focus first, and if you get hit at all, your focus breaks and the move will do nothing. This is another great option for wall breaking in Gen 3 OU that can punish defensive switches. Stab boosted Focus Punch threatens even the sturdiest of switch-ins like an incoming Skarmory or Pokemon like Zapdos or Moltres that resist fighting. With access to the ability Guts, Heracross has yet another way to punish passive teams. Guts will grant a 1.5 times attack boost if Heracross is statused, and also an immunity to the damage halving effect of Burn. Pokemon that rely on status to get through offensive threats like Melodic, Skarmory, and Swampert can quickly find themselves in big trouble against Heracross. Some teams choose to use Drill Peck on Skarmory purely to deal with Heracross. They usually have to sacrifice Toxic in the process, making them worse in a lot of other matchups, with no option to punish incoming Zapdos and no way to cripple enemies like Swampert or Claydol. The biggest adversary for Heracross in Gen 3 OU is Salamence, one of the format's most popular offensive Pokemon. One of Salamence's greatest traits is that in addition to being an offensive powerhouse, it also doubles as a check to fighting types, with its excellent ability Intimidate that lowers the opponent's attack on switch-in, along with resistances to both bug and fighting. Salamence is the most common switch-in to Heracross. Heracross can predict an incoming Salamence and hit them with Rock Slide, but after Intimidate, Salamence can survive it solidly and regain momentum, forcing Heracross out with either a Fire Blast or a Hidden Power Flying. Heracross can sometimes use a Jolly Nature to outrun some variants of Salamence. Many Dragon Dance Salamence sets sacrifice speed for enough bulk to live a Swampert Ice Beam and defensive Gengar Ice Punch. These sets can't afford enough speed EVs to outrun Jolly Heracross. With a Jolly Nature, Heracross can also outrun some variants of Zapdos that trade speed for bulk, and also modest Moltres sets. But against most Salamence sets, Heracross will struggle. Since Salamence is immune to spikes, luring it in and wearing it down can also be a bit difficult. Another adversary for Heracross is Dugtrio, who can trap and eliminate Heracross in a single hit with Aerial Ace. This is often how defensive teams choose to deal with Heracross. Dugtrio helps them out against other breakers too, like Tyranitar and Metagross, making it a logical choice that bolsters their defensive core. Dugtrio is not completely solid against Heracross though, since getting Dugtrio on the field safely is challenging. It will often require the enemy to sacrifice a Pokemon for a safe entry point, and then sacrifice momentum by locking in to Aerial Ace, which is very punishable. Because Salamence and Dugtrio give Heracross problems, a great teammate for Heracross is Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is known for its ability to counter-trap Dugtrio by tracing Arena Trap, which can support teammates that hate Dugtrio. Porygon 2 is also an excellent check to Salamence that is solid against both the mixed sets and the Dragon Dance sets, easily withstanding their damage and threatening to one-hit KO with Ice Beam or cripple with Thunder Wave. Another common teammate for Heracross is Suicune. Suicune can switch in nicely against Fire Blast from mixed Salamence or HP Flying from Dragon Dance Salamence, and force them out with Ice Beam, earning you your momentum back. Heracross can be used on a variety of different team styles. On more balanced teams, Heracross can be a much needed form of offensive pressure that benefits from the support of Paralysis and Wish. Sometimes you can even afford to invest in bulk on Heracross in these kinds of teams. In this SPL game, the player Triangles used Heracross alongside a Wish Blissey and 2 Paralysis Spreaders, Zapdos and Defensive Starmie. This Heracross set was itemless and used Thief, a smart way to punish switch-ins. Stealing leftovers is a great way to cripple incoming threats like Salamence and Zapdos on a slower paced team like this. In this game, Triangles managed to steal leftovers from Zapdos and apply a lot of pressure to Swampert and Jirachi with the Heracross, eventually winning the game. Heracross also fits well on Magneton offense teams, as it thrives with Skarmory eliminated. Agility Pass Zapdos can be a great teammate on teams like this, passing speed boosts to Heracross and using it as an ultimate game ender. Another fun way to use Heracross is on weather teams. Salac Berry can be a powerful item in Gen 3OU, a pinch berry that grants a +1 speed boost when the holder falls below 25% health. But Sandstorm keeps these strategies in check quite a bit. Unless you have a sand immune typing, sacrificing your leftovers for a Salac Berry will mean your Pokemon only has a few turns to pose a threat before Sandstorm chip damage KOs you. Heracross is probably the most common and threatening Salac Berry sweeper in the format, and it works very well alongside Rain Dance users that can clear Sandstorm. Kingdra is a popular choice for this. Kingdra has the ability Swift Swim, which grants double speed in the rain, so with Rain Dance it becomes a powerful threat for the 5 turns that Rain is active. Kingdra is often used alongside bulky Dugtrio, which can safely eliminate Blissey. With Blissey gone, a rain-boosted Kingdra will threaten the majority of the metagame. And Salac Berry Heracross is another great teammate to pick up the pieces and clean up. After successfully eliminating their Tyranitar and clearing Sandstorm, Heracross can substitute down to its Salac Berry and become a monstrous sweeper. These sets use the ability Swarm rather than Guts, which grants a 1.5 times boost to Bug-type moves if Heracross is below 33% health. With this boost, and maybe even a Swords Dance on top if you can find an opportunity, Heracross will often win on the spot. This is one of those sets that can completely bring back games that looked lost and reverse sweep entire teams. In this game for Kalos Invitational 7, the player Kurtz ended things with a bang using a Salac boosted Heracross. ABR happened to bring a team without Tyranitar, so Kurtz didn't even need to worry about clearing the weather. But judging by the rest of the team, I would expect that Magneton or Suicune were carrying Rain Dance. Heracross managed to successfully substitute against a Porygon 2 using Thunder Wave, earning a free turn to Swords Dance up, and then getting into Salac and Swarm range with further substitutes. Heracross very easily took out ABR's remaining Pokemon from there. Heracross is a beautiful Pokemon. It's a much needed form of counterplay against defensive teams, with a lot of variety in how it can be used. Heracross has adapted to metagame shifts quite a bit, with different EV spreads emerging and different structures built around its unique tools. With 2 great abilities and a diverse move pool, Heracross promotes creativity and metagame evolution. I think this should be the blueprint for a well-designed wallbreaker. I hereby forgive Heracross for invading my home and sending me to the other side. This video topic was the winner of a poll over on Patreon. Thank you to everyone who submitted topics and voted. And congratulations to JDog for winning the poll. Become a patron to vote on these polls and suggest topics of your own. Thank you to everyone who has donated to ADV Revival, my Gen 3OU tournament.
Whoa! KO by 1 hit! It scattered spikes!
The money got different, 'cause of what I'm spending.